And to that piece of lieutenant that's always on his podcast, bashing us, him.
Attention to roll call.
Good morning. We got an early shout out here. Jesse James starting the day off right. We appreciate it. Coffee and donuts. Big hit. $49.99. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you. Jesse James also says, good morning, lieutenants. Coffee and donuts on me. Absolutely appreciate it. We got a full dozen here and a little extra for Eric Starling. Thank God. It seems like it's getting a little better. The weather in California's been wild. Winds, fires. You know, John, it's like I was telling you the other day. No matter where you live, and I know it from traveling now, it's almost like you pay a tax anyway. You know, some people say, I don't want to be in Florida. There's hurricanes. Yeah, well, you go to the Midwest, you got tornadoes. You know, you're in New York, you got snowstorms. California, you got earthquakes. So no matter where you are, there's some type of weather condition. So good morning, everybody. I think we got a good one for you today, talking about drones. I don't think we got enough of drones. Drones. But what's going on right now is really interesting. It's kind of scary. Should make your hair stand up. So, John, what are your immediate thoughts right now? I mean, so what the congressman is saying in New Jersey is that supposedly it could be an Iranian mothership. I mean, scary stuff going over some legit infrastructure, close to a military installation. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of things going on that need to be addressed. I think one immediately at the local level. Before we get to Congress and the feds, I mean, I think that these issues should be addressed at a local level, right? Like, why are we even shooting right into Congress and the feds? But the fact that they hold a meeting in New Jersey to go over these drone sightings, and by the way, they're just pretending like this isn't happening in New York and Pennsylvania, but it is. You know, I know crime's down, but you know, they're pretending that this isn't happening. But immediate response. We have an emergency. There's a 911 call. The shit hits the fan. You call 911. I never seen a Fed show up. I've never seen my congressman show up. You know who I see show up? Local police department. So God forbid these drones have bad intentions or come from bad actors. When you call 911, I'm not looking for the solution from my congressman. I'm not looking for the solution from the FBI. I'm looking for the solution from who is here to provide public safety. I'm looking for the solution from my local elected politicians, and I'm looking for the solution from my local law enforcement.
Right. It also makes me wonder, you know, John, I agree with you. You know, Kaz Daughtry is the czar of technology, especially drones for the NYPD. So does he have a plan? Is he going to have like a drone team to shoot down other drones in the air? I mean, what's the plan for the NYPD? I know so far the only aspect we heard about drones is it's assisting the NYPD at 911s. Not only assisting, but labeled as the drone first responder program. So ultimately, which insinuates it's the first response in itself. And in addition to that, it's supposed to save subway surfers and all this stuff. But we haven't heard, are drones going to be utilized to
save lives, Eric? It saves lives. Correct yourself.
It saves lives. Yeah, it does. I mean, for me, I think it's reporting deaths or recording deaths. But, you know, but is there a plan to, like, are they going to have a team of drones, like a conditions team up in the air for combating other drones? We haven't heard anything like that. What do you think?
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of talk. I got a ton of videos I'm going to bring in, but there's a lot of talk about how they can't bring drones down. Oh, local law enforcement can't bring drones down because of some FAA regulation. I've seen with my own eyes the NYPD bring drones to the ground. So, and I'm not saying whether that's sanctioned by the FAA or not. And to be honest with you, I really don't give a shit if it is. And if you're local law enforcement and you're a leader, and you consistently hashtag strength and honor, and you consistently talk about how you're the guy in the arena, then, I mean, I think that this is not only a national security threat, this is a public safety threat. And, we've proven time and time again how the leadership in the NYPD is emasculated, how they're inept, and how they've been for the last decade, and has these threats now realized that the threats become greater, right? They become greater because they understand it's not a knock on the rank and file. It's a knock on the people that are in charge of them, right? I'd rather have a lion in charge of 1,000 sheep than have one sheep in charge of 10,000 lions, right? And that's basically what the problem is now, is we have a bunch of sheep in charge of an apparatus and a lot of individuals who can get the job done very simply, very easily, know how to do it, know what needs to be done, but they're being held back. That's an emergency situation right there. There's something in the air. It's unidentified. We don't know what it is. Potentially could cause harm. I think it's a big problem. It's been going on for nights and nights and nights and nights. It's been going on for a while now. It's been going on about a month. One of my friends, I've been joking back and forth with him at night about it because he keeps sending me videos in Staten Island of like these things over his house. And so I've been just messing around with him. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, now that I understand the totality of it, I'm like, this is a little nerve-wracking. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm not saying that the government doesn't know exactly who this is, because I 100% believe the government knows 100% what's going on, where these drones are originating from, all of that, whether they know it's a foreign actor or it's them themselves. I 100% believe the government knows, someone in the government knows that where these drones are originating from. But that's not my concern, really, as a citizen. It's not my concern as someone in law enforcement, right? We don't care. Like, oh, yeah, guess what? I think that the feds have someone undercover in there. It's like, okay, lock them up. Doesn't
undercover drones?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you're not gonna think about those things when you have to do your job and provide public safety.
Jesse James, $4.99 coffee donuts. This is hilarious. And shit, sorry, Eric. Happy Hanukkah. Listen,
crazy nights.
Hey, dude, I love Hanukkah, and I gotta tell you, growing up Jewish kid, we used to call it Jews for Christmas. My family, we always loved Christmas. All my cousins are Catholic, so we'd always have a tree also. And I listen, love Christmas. Can't have just a menorah. Growing up and you have a menorah sitting by itself, you look at kids' trees, like, I'm kind of jealous. I remember even in the precincts working, you see this big giant tree, and everybody's putting their pictures on, they're putting all the ornaments, and then you look over at the desk and somebody found like a $4.99 Hanukkah menorah, like the dollar store or something, just to throw it in there to say they had it. So Jesse James, shout out to you. I appreciate the laugh, brother. I think this is wild. I mean, it's interesting, right? All they talked about is drones in this very one-dimensional aspect, right? Oh, it can go out and find sharks. It can go out and save subway surfers. But what about combating other drones? Like, is this part of their counterterrorism plan, if they even have a plan? I mean, the NYPD can't even get a robot going. They can't even get the right metal detectors for the subway. Can we trust the NYPD to combat drones? From a potential outside source looking to do harm in this country. And I agree with you. You're a citizen. Do you care where it's coming from, the origin? No. You just want to know that you're safe. I mean, we don't know. What could these drones drop? I mean, this is some wild stuff, brother.
Yeah, someone commented on Twitter, not in the live feed. So if you're not in the live feed, I'm not really going to see it. I just seen it because I had to check my phone for something. But they're like, these are U.S. drones. Use common sense. I'm not going to use my common sense is going to tell me that I'm going to look around. I would say that more or less, more than likely, that these are our own drones. I would hope these are our own drones. But the misinformation we've seen come out from both federal, state, and local law enforcement these past 8 years, I really don't believe anything that I'm told at this point. And I've seen nefarious actors and I've seen bad actors be made excuses for on why law enforcement's been inept and emasculated and taking them down, hiding behind law while they're breaking other law. It's, so I'm not taking it. I'm just sitting here on my face and I'm going to just go with my old routine is that I know absolutely nothing. I'm dumb. I know nothing. I know that there's something in the sky, and I know that these law enforcement agencies, including especially the NYPD, have been touting about the future is now and how much money we've put into these drone programs and how great these drones are. I know that. I know that I've been told that. I've been told how great this is. This is the future of policing. We're going to have drones as first responders. We've been told all these great things about drones. Yet when there are numerous drones up in the sky, these drones don't have the capability to take them down. Some type of aerial threat in the same form as the form that we're touting as great. We're not going to use those drones to take those down. Oh, you don't have those capabilities? Oh, you're not allowed to? Okay, so why the fuck do you have the drones then? That's what I know. I know nothing. I want to be told this like I'm 5 years old. I want someone to sit here and explain to me why millions of dollars was spent on a drone program. And then when something happens in the air that the helicopters can't handle, that the drones should be able to handle, they can't handle it.
You know, I was thinking the same thing. You're talking about the capability of drones and the capability of the NYPD leadership actually combating drones. I know someone's saying that, oh, common sense, it's U.S. drones. I wouldn't say common sense. I mean, if we think back, there were some people that invaded this country and flew a couple of planes into some towers. Maybe, I don't know. It's possible, right? That these drones are not U.S. drones. That's ridiculous. But, you know, do we have the faith in this NYPD leadership? I mean, I watched the interview, of course, with the Gotham brothers. It was John Cho and Kaz Daughtry talking to Rosanna Scotto. And Rosanna Scotto really pushed the question. She wanted a legit answer. These two really balked. And if you the question was asking about the unibrow, specific identification for Luigi Mangione, and they really balked at the question. So I'm like, could these guys actually combat drones? They can't even answer a simple question. They danced around a question about a unibrow. Can these guys actually be prepared to combat drones? No. Hey, JF Dot, shout out to you, brother. $9.99 coffee and donuts. Love it. That's what he says. New York City can't do less than Governor Murphy. Yeah, he's dude. I mean, New Jersey has very corrupt politics as we speak. Probably the most in the entire country. Total zero. Eric looked like an outlaw, an undercover outlaw biker with that shape up. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Actually, my wife was abusing me. For some reason, guy gave me a great haircut, but he had taken off my mustache and just kept my beard. I looked like an Amish, completely Amish. So I was getting abused for a day or two. So, yeah, I mean, John, what do you think? Do you have faith that they could actually combat drones if it is coming from an outside country looking to do harm to you? I don't
have faith in them. I don't have faith in them handling the things that need to be handled on the ground each day. So, you know, it's sad, you know, it's sad to say, but it's just really how I feel. I don't have faith in their response when it comes to these planned and coordinated protests. We've seen the people that have organized these planned, coordinated, I don't mind planned and coordinated protests. Let me take that back. Planned and coordinated shutdowns of critical infrastructure in New York City, which are completely illegal. When you're planning on taking over an airport, when you're planning on shutting down a train station, when you're planning on taking over a bridge, when you're planning on taking over a tunnel, when you're planning on taking over a business, to me, those are all dry runs too. Those are all dry runs because you're seeing how far you get before you can elicit a response from law enforcement. Right here, what I'm watching is something planned and coordinated, and it's looking to elicit a response from law enforcement, and law enforcement has their hands in their pocket. Shout out to VSS Ventura's $5. He says Kaz bases his drone program as if he was playing Call of Duty. MOS will now carry department issue Stinger missile launches to patrol the counter. I wish it was. I wish that was true. I wish it was true that he actually was thinking of this as it was Call of Duty. I mean, I know he likes Call of Duty and they have their own private Call of Duty chat. Me and Eric still aren't invited, which I'm sad about, Kaz. But it's Christmas. Maybe you guys could let us in. And Hanukkah for Eric. But But the fact of the matter is they misrepresent the capability of these drones. Again, we just talked about it, right? We just talked about it. What do they consistently say? They use these drones for this program that makes absolutely no sense. Where they're like, yeah, you know what we do? We figure out through maps where these kids are subway surfing, and then we go and we like follow the trains with the drones for one stop. It's like, what? It's like, wait, this is a good waste. This is a good use of resources here. This is what you're utilizing drones for. Yeah, because we save lives. The drone saves lives. People say, you know, whatever he was saying. He's like, but we say these are lives saved. And it's like, dude, you didn't save anybody's life. If anything, you might potentially be distracting these kids where they're gonna fall off. And then you're not even arresting them. It's like the whole program's a waste of time and a waste of manpower and a waste of resources. Put cameras on top of the trains, much cheaper. Keep them up there. Have some AI where anytime that camera, while a train's moving, that camera goes off, it alerts local law enforcement. Have your local precinct respond to it.
And the other thing, right? This administration loves to travel, right? They love to go around the country and travel. For what purposes? Purposes unknown. So here's a case where they should actually be traveling. They should travel and actually go to D.C. and try to find out, you know, with the Pentagon, the drones that were taken down. What type of investigative material did they get? What type of information do they have on the actual drone that they could utilize so that they could have a better understanding in New York City? Now, that would make sense for travel. You know, not some of the travel they've been doing. All right, no need to go to Altoona, Pennsylvania, when the perpetrator's already apprehended and you have your detectives responding. But something like this is where the leadership should get involved in traveling and go to D.C. and find out what information has been obtained so that could be valuable information for what's going on in New York City. Here we go. Another one here. Coffee and Donuts. I really appreciate it. I think it's Rich Raj. Rich Raj is always hooking us up. Yep. Rich Raj, good morning. $20 Coffee and Donuts says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for always hooking us up. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas to you. I mean, John, do you agree that this here's an opportunity, that this is the time that they should be traveling because this is new, getting information on it, actually speaking with, if since the Pentagon is involved, then actually getting to the source?
I mean, they should be traveling and watching this and getting information from the local law enforcement here in Jersey as well. Like, if you look at this, right now, I just want you to picture this is happening over Manhattan. And, like Eric said, right, we have things that came from the sky that ran into buildings in Manhattan. Just think about how scary this is to think that the United States government, potentially the United States government, doesn't know anything about it. But sure as shit, local law enforcement is doing absolutely nothing about it. Not even attempting to videotape these things, right? I'm not even saying to take them down. At least at some point there just has to be some type of intelligence reconnaissance. At least see what they look like, how they maneuver. And I don't think any of that's being done. Yeah, 100% they should be traveling here. No, but they only care about utilizing drones to ride over your backyard. I mean, look at these things. I mean, to me, they look a lot more capable than the drones the NYPD has. So this is a video that's shot. This is them. It's like a time lapse, but this is what someone's filming in Jersey. They're like, this is insane. And it's been going on for a month. And do you see any law enforcement videotaping it? You see any law enforcement helicopters up there? Nothing. We don't see anything. And where are the law enforcement drones? I don't see them at all. Eric, before you go, there's some guy, he's on the chat, or it could be a girl too. Keeps asking about Teledoc. What do we get in Teledoc at? We don't give investment advice here, but I'm actually down in Teledoc. I bought Teledoc high. I love the technology. I don't know that Teledoc is going to be the company or not. I'm probably going to buy some more shares because I am down in it. And I like I said, I love the technology. I think it's great. I just don't know that Teledoc's going to be the one to take it home to the finish line. But I bought it a lot higher than what it's at now. I don't remember, but I'm down in it. That's what I know.
Yeah, I mean, from a from a personal standpoint of actually utilizing teledoc.
Oh,
So I'm traveling the country by RV, and I go to a lot of places that actually most of the places in the country don't take GHI Emblem Health. I don't know why. Even in New York, before I retired, I was like, wow, it seems like nobody's taking this insurance anymore. And because they really paid, they pay dirt, they pay nothing. So, but when you utilize teledoc, you get it. You get immediate response. And within seconds, you're in a waiting room, and within seconds, you're seeing a doctor. And for the most part, unless it's an emergency where you go into the hospital, and that doesn't matter anywhere in the country, your hospitalization is covered. But if you have Anthem or whatever the case is, for the most part, we know who we are, right? You know your bodies. Teledoc's great. Copay's $10. You just go right. Google Teledoc, go right into it. You create an account, a login, and within seconds you're getting a doctor. Within seconds, and then they'll send the prescription right to any local pharmacy. I mean, I drove an RV, John. I drove an RV. Remember, from Florida to California, and on the way I was by myself. My family was waiting for me. I got shingles on the way, and I was in agony. And I was in Louisiana. I went on Teledoc, and I had a prescription sent to Texas. I was crossing the border and got myself medicine. And by the time I got back home, it was better. So, yeah, Teledoc, $10 copay, get your stuff outstanding within seconds. Check it out.
Yeah. So here's Josh Hawley. So just a quick clip on what Josh Hawley had to say about this. So here we go.
Yeah, you can't tell me that we don't know what that is. I just think they're not being honest with us. I think that if we don't know, if our government really has no idea, then they're even more incompetent than I thought. We've got to get to the bottom of this, and they need to level with the American people about what's going on. It's crazy. Yeah.
Great point. What do you think about what he says? So it's a great point, and we really didn't cover it. What do you think? Does the government know what it is?
I think they know. I do. I think they know. I think they're just not being transparent with it. Because he's 100% right. If they don't know, that's a huge problem. I mean, look at that sky. That looks a little crazy, brother. With all those drones flying around, that looks crazy. I definitely think that they know. I'd be shocked if they didn't know. I do think they know. By the way, Jeff Dot hitting us up a second time. Thank you so much. $4.99. More coffee and donuts. Lastly, Van True's line yesterday was reckless. No context or sources is not good for the public, especially during the holidays. Absolutely. Creates anxiety. Nobody likes to be left in the dark. Absolutely. 100%. I don't want to get totally off topic, but I see a lot of people here talking about crypto. I'm in crypto, and some people say buy XRP. Definitely. I agree. I mean, I'm not advertising for them, but I just bought a bunch of XRP. They were in a lawsuit for many years. It's finally, that's been wrapped up. So I do think XRP, we will see some good dividends with that. Not to get totally off topic, but yeah, I'm a big fan of crypto.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that person's statement's reckless. I know what is actually reckless now is that our local law enforcement have not acted, and I think that's my bigger concern of all this. I would like to believe that the government knows exactly what's happening. I would like to believe that, but I also pre 9/11, I also believe that we would never be attacked in this country. And I was proven wrong 9/11, 2001. And that was an eye-opening, shocking moment for me, but I would like to believe that the $1 trillion we spend a year, that we know exactly who's flying in our airspace at all times. And I would like to think that they know exactly who it is. And I think that they do. But who says that this guy doesn't have a source? Just because he's not giving the source up doesn't mean he's lying. Just because he's going against the grain and saying it's a very pointed accusation. I don't know if he pulled this up from his at his rear end. That's a problem. But do politicians pull things out of their rear end? Yeah, I mean, I listen to Eric Adams pull things out of his rear end constantly. But I don't know, man. I don't know what to say at this point, because I think we've exposed multifaceted when it relates to public safety and national security. We're completely exposed, or your government and your local law enforcement treat you like cattle, and they don't have to tell you anything, and they could do whatever they want. They could fly over your house, change the times on your clock, invade your personal privacy, do whatever they need to do, and it's fine. Yeah, the government always does that. It's fine. Yeah, you could fly over my house and change my clocks and look for my bank information, see how much cash I keep in my safe, how many guns I have in my house. Right? It's fine. It's good. It's all for safety, right? It's what remember the Navy SEAL yesterday in the New York Post article? It's the government. Don't worry about it. And they're not invading your privacy and nothing like that. What exactly is going on? We need to know immediately. If it is the government, I want to know immediately. If it's not the government, I want to know immediately. And then I want to know, what is local law enforcement? What have they done about this for a month? That's the conversation that needs to be had. This has been going on for a month. You've had hundreds and hundreds of 911 calls to it. We take 311 calls. They're the most important calls in the world, right? 311, that some person who's upset that they moved by a train station, that every time the train comes, the train moves the house a little bit. We take those 311 calls with the utmost professionalism. What have you done about these 911 calls? I'd love to sit there and ask those questions. I would love to know what the response was. Did our drones fly out to try to get some reconnaissance, to try to see what was going on? Did aviation fly out? Did a patrol car come out? What are we marking those jobs? What's the follow-up investigation? Were there notifications made? What exactly are you doing? We're paying you billions and billions of dollars. What exactly are you doing?
Doreen Murnane says, let's hit the like button. Thank you so much for being a friend to the podcast. Please do that. Like, share, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. We really appreciate it. We have other outlets also, but when we go live, it's YouTube and X predominantly. So please, if you're on X, repost, reshare the live. We appreciate it. Absolutely. John, I think you just spot on. I think you nailed it. I think it's almost actually scarier and devious that if it's actually U.S. government and they're just leaving us in the dark and not providing information, this leaves a lot of questions, right? We go back to COVID and we hear, everything that was coming out of COVID, potentially, especially in New York, wanted to put people encampments, right? If they're sick. So could drones have some type of infrared where they could, look in your house and see if anyone's showing up with any potential illnesses, and then, they take you out, they send a message, and then the local police comes and takes you and brings you to a camp because you're sick, because you have the flu. This, if it's if it's from Iran or China, it's scary as it is, right? But we could have an idea what their intentions are. But if it's actually the U.S. government, what are their intentions? Is it a dry run just to see if anybody will actually question it, see what kind of information they can obtain on us? You're absolutely right. I agree with you, John. That's some scary stuff, and that's where we could be headed.
Yeah, I mean, so that's my whole thing is there's I'm not okay with it in any form of fashion. If it's our government running a test program on Americans, I'm not okay with it. If it's a foreign entity, I believe that our government does know about it, and I'm not okay with it. If it is a foreign entity and our government doesn't know about it, I'm not okay with it. And then let's take it to local. What are you guys doing? You don't know? Okay. So what are you doing? You don't know. Okay. Oh. And I just keep hearing over and over and over again from elected officials. And honestly, I'm not one for violence, and I'm not one to say, oh, we should be shooting these things out of the sky, because there's probably no one on here that could actually hit one of those things out of the sky with a firearm. So that's absolutely ridiculous to even start to talk about. But every time one of them says that, oh, they don't appear to be harmful, or they don't appear to be a threat, they should just get smacked right in the face. Right in the face. Because where are you making that conclusion from? How are you coming to that conclusion? They don't appear to be a threat. So a father with his son taking a drone up to take a picture, he's a threat. But hundreds of these in the sky is not a threat to plane routes or anything else. Those are not threats. Just a father with a son just that guy. That guy, you're a threat. If you go buy a drone and you fly it up at an event, you're getting taken down so fast and arrested, it's not even funny. You're the threat, but not hundreds in the sky. Nah, everything's fine. Don't worry about it, guys.
John, again, I agree with you. I'm concerned either way. If it's from Iran, China, or another country, absolutely, we should definitely be concerned. And if the U.S. government doesn't know where it's coming from, that's a problem. If the U.S. government's airspace can be penetrated so easily by an outside country, that's scary. That's scary. I mean, that makes you think. Also, doing these dry runs, could they just shoot down, just an average plane? These are some scary things. Now, if it's actually the U.S. government just doing reconnaissance and doing dry runs to see what kind of information they obtain, or see just to get an idea of what kind of resistance they get from the public, and actually law enforcement agencies on its own, that's scary also. And I said in a prior episode, the CIA is known to do experiments throughout our history. Could it be a CIA thing? I don't know. It's some deep state stuff, but the problem is when you're left in the dark and you're not giving information to the public, it leaves a lot of room for speculation, which is reflective and on parallel with what's going on with the case with the murder of the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson. A lot of this case, the public has been left in the dark, not provided with a lot of information, which is why it leads to different angles, different theories of deep state, and different things of speculation. I think that's really what's going on with these drones. I mean, it also, to me, it's what makes me believe and kind of lead towards something devious with the U.S. government is the fact that they're kind of being evasive and saying, everything's fine. It's not an outside source. Okay, well, if you're saying that, then tell us. If you're saying you know what it's not, you would have to say you know what it's not because you know what it is, and then not telling us what it is. So that's a problem.
Shout out to Paul Peters. I thought we were completely banned on Facebook, but apparently we're not. He said, I think the bald dude goes to the bar and orders warm milk. And then he said something that I look like the dude that goes to the strip club and gives tips him Monopoly money. I guess nobody likes my jacket, and someone else had to turn the heat on. But yeah, we'll see. I'm getting Florida has changed my blood type, and I get a little cold these days. So I'm not gonna do good next week in the city. That's for sure.
Well, maybe the trolls could, maybe the troll. We got a lot of great friends and listeners on the podcast. Threw us a lot of coffee and donuts. Maybe the trolls could step up and start providing with some, give you some heat. They could send it our way.
Yeah. Cajun in New York City. The city of Mesa, Arizona bought drones and didn't inform its citizens. Statistically, crime increased in East Valley neighborhoods because the drones had no capabilities to apprehend, and criminals knew this. Crime is now worse in that area. So, Cajun in New York City, and that's what's happening in New York, right? They're trying as 911's response times rise. What the plan is to implement, what I believe the plan is to implement these drones as a first responder program. So what they're going to do is basically what they're telling the public is that, when there's a 911 call, these drones could respond in less than a minute. And what does that mean? That means that you're going to have someone in a satellite area, whether it's in one police plaza or somewhere borough based, and that drone's going to respond there and watch you get assaulted, robbed, shot, whatever the hell's happening to you. But don't worry about it. Someone's going to go over the radio and stop the 911 response time. So you'll never know exactly. So the 911 response times will be skewed. It'll look like, no, we're responding to these. We're right there. It's like, no, you're not. Actually, you're not. Actually, the response time, it took a half hour for a human to get there and actually stop me from getting raped or assaulted or robbed. Or they just showed up after the fact to not only not take the report, but to dumb down the report, and which we've been seeing time and time again, over and over again. Not to get too off the topic, but don't worry. crimes down. Apparently, a high-ranking chief, a 3-star chief, brought in a lot of commanding officers to One Police Plaza this week or last week and told them that if you don't have a body, there's no such thing as a burglary. So expect burglaries in New York City to go down because all of the commanding officers citywide are being threatened that they better not take burglary reports if there's not arrest to be made with it. So, and for all those people that are victims of burglary, sorry, we're just going to misrepresent it and not investigate properly because, we got to say crimes now. You know how it is. You know how it is.
Right. And here's the problem, right? Weak men. These commanders, they will not band together and say, hey, we can't do this. We're going to put our names on the line and actually manipulate legitimate, index crimes, felony crimes that's actually reported to the FBI. We're going to actually manipulate this because this 3-star chief told us to do it. He's giving us bad advice. I mean, and you know what they're saying, John, right? Okay, boss. Okay.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. What am I supposed to do? I got to take this shot. I got to help go after that mean podcast. They put out those mean memes and they say bad things about my bosses. I got to stop that podcast. Yeah. I got to make sure that my cops scrape off the tinted windows. Burglaries, I got to get rid of them too. Anything else, boss? Would you like me to bring my wife in tomorrow? I can bring her in too.
Oh, you're so right. I mean, and that's what's happening is like, so everything is perception. Everything's perception management. No. So response times aren't actually up because we fly the drones there. What do they do when they get there? They do absolutely nothing. What's going on when we have potentially dangerous drones up in the sky? What do those drones do? Oh, they don't even respond. We don't even know what they do. Oh, no. Oh, okay. And then as crime's rising, it's not actually rising because we got to make sure the king's happy. So we got to not take the actual reports the way that complainants are actually reporting them and actually what happened. So when patterns emerge, we won't know that there's actually a pattern there. And we allow people to just commit these crimes over and over and over again with no recourse because we have weak, inept, emasculated leaders. So if you're a commanding officer and a 3-star chief asks you to do that and you actually go through with it, the fact that all of you didn't band together, go right to your union and shut him down immediately just shows how little pair of balls all of you have. But other than that, as an individual, if you can't do it because all of the people around you are a bunch of rats and they're not going to stand and band together with you, they're just going to kiss the feet of the king and tell them how great the drones are. Oh, holy drone, you're doing so great. You're so great. I'm so glad that you made first grade detective for driving someone, and now you could lead me and tell me everything that I need to do. But the fact that they haven't band together to do that, but if you as an individual aren't helping complainants when they call 911, and then you're asking your guys to have no integrity, to appease these low integrity people who are all under federal investigation, you, my friend, have failed as a man. Pull your man card. You have no balls. None.
None of these guys do. That's why I said the entire upper echelon of the police department is compromised and affected. None of them have any balls. The only one that had any balls was Key Chan Sewell, and she left. She took their balls with her because everyone of them is compromised and infected. Now, one of them has stood up and said, you know what? This is the unprofessional version of the police department. We don't agree with this. They didn't say a word. They know how to operate because Chief Kenny, he hasn't said a word at all. And now that he's in the spotlight because he's the technical man behind this particular case with the CEO, Brian Thompson, he allowed Jessica Tisch to lead him by the elbow. Here you go, little boy. Stand right here, little boy. Oh, no problem. Okay. Last week I thought it was Cass Daughtry and John Shell. I guess, okay, I'm here for you. Pathetic. These guys are all bums. Jesse James, right. Funny. But Quad is quick to give the cop a command discipline for not filling out the 61 properly misclassification. So for anyone here is outside law enforcement agencies or just a civilian for the NYPD, 61 is actually a complaint report. Absolutely. Cops get in trouble all the time for that. 100% right. But we have commanders not reporting burglaries properly. And what's next, John? What's next? Rapes? You know what? If the rape victim knows her assailant, it's not a rape. Because on behalf of the NYPD, we just had a stranger rape in the Bronx in Parkchester. And of course, there's alarm with that. And right away, on behalf of the NYPD, everything's okay because apparently their perception. You talk about perception management. Shout out to Marlon Bethel for coming up with that perception management. That's such a great line. And that's their perception management by telling the public, no, everything's okay, everything's okay. Apparently, the victim knows the assailant, so everything's okay. So I don't know if that's a rape anymore. I just want to let you know. It's not. We're going to get rid of burglaries. We'll get rid of rapes. Next thing you know, if someone's shot, if it's a certain type of gun, it's not a shooting. John Shull loves to put twist on everything. It's not a raid. If you're not in your BVD underwears at 6 a.m, it's not a raid.
Yeah, no. So it's complete lack of integrity. And yeah, no, for years and years, anytime there has been any type of misclassification of crimes to dumb down crime, to give the appearance that crime is down, who gets in trouble for it? It's never the people that are putting the pressure on the cops to do it, right? It's never your CO. It's never the 3-star chief who's pressuring them to do this. It's who does it. It's the cop, the sergeant, and lieutenant. So why are you idiots doing it? Screw you. No. You put no. This is what it is. This is what it is. And John, you did that. No, I never did. You could ask anybody that ever worked with me. I used to get into brawls all the time about it. I'm not doing it. It's stupid. Oh, he's a friend. He couldn't get robbed because he knows the kid. I was like, okay, what does it say in the penal law? I don't know. This is what the complainant told me. Well, you're mad at me because the complainant told me this? What do you want me to tell? I'm not putting together this whole thing and coming around here. You know why? Because when I get called down to anything, this is what happened. I only know the truth. I don't need to do anything. Was I pressured like everybody else to do a lot of things? Yeah, I was. A lot of things. And then it got to a point where I was like, you know what? They put me under the gun with 7 days. What do you want me to do? And then that was the pressure I didn't give into either. So I mean, at the point, we got to start holding local law enforcement accountable. I mean, because they've been unaccountable. I'm sorry. They get cheered on, and I'm not talking about the rank and file. I'm talking about this inept appointed management in all of these departments. Wherever this drone thing's happening, to me, it just showed exactly why there needs to be a whole change in law enforcement leadership across this country. Local law enforcement leadership. Then let's take it to the state. Then let's take it federal, because I believe all of it has proven themselves. This issue has proven law enforcement inept and emasculated throughout the entire country. We're seeing it clear as day here on the East Coast. They are failures. Let's see This is the I forget this dude's name, but this is him on Fox last night. This is the guy that's talking about the warships.
In focus now, Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew of New Jersey, member of the House Judiciary Committee on the Hill right now. How do you address this at this point?
Well, here's the real deal, Harris. I'm also on the Transportation Committee, on the Aviation Subcommittee, and I've gotten to know people. And from very high sources, very qualified sources, very responsible sources, I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off. I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Look, you've given us some pretty dire information just here, and I want to make sure that our viewers are digesting this. Iran has the capability to pull up along our eastern seaboard and launch drones the size of an SUV into the skies of several states, particularly New Jersey, where we know the incoming president has a large home, also in the same county or nearby where some of these drones in New Jersey have been seen. That capability exists. It's possible some of those drones are here. So I have two questions. How are they fueling them? They have to land somewhere. Drones don't fly forever. Why don't they close down the airspace? Yes, it's inconvenient. Yes, it's the holidays. Shut it down. But if you start shooting things and you don't know how they're fueled, that's going to be mass explosions. This isn't like one spy balloon. Congressman, this is serious.
We've got to bring them down, and we've got to find a way to bring them down. I don't know exactly where they're landing. Obviously, I have some information. And again, this isn't just Jeff Van Drew. Oh, let's get on Harris Faulkner's show and say something outrageous. I'm telling you the straight deal from very high positioned individuals who are telling me this. And the bottom line is they're launching them. They are across the country. We don't even have anything like this. Our government, and also certainly our hobbyists don't. So think about it. It's not only do I have the information, but it's also common sense. We've got to get them down. We've got to determine how they function, what they do, make sure that we can get them, and you're right, in a safe way. When I say shoot them down, get them down any way that you can, but right now they're probably extracting information. This is a clear and present danger to the United States and to our president-elect, and it's a serious business.
Well, and if one of them happens to fall and they're fueled, that explosion could kill people.
What do you think, Eric? Some people in the chat said, oh, if they knew this was happening, they wouldn't let it happen. I don't believe that.
I got a lot of respect for Ad Alva 91. Always has some good engagement, great comments, but I got to push back on that. I mean, we could go back to 9/11, right? There was a lot of indication. There was a lot of reports and a lot of stuff going on in the 9/11 hearings to indicate that the government was aware that this was potentially happening, and they've already had the information with 1993, and it happened. I mean, look how many lives were lost, and it happened in several locations on that day. I mean, along with Washington, D.C., it wasn't only Manhattan. Sometimes we forget this was strategically located in specific spots throughout the country. So to say that they know that, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I mean, come on, we can't be blind to that. It to the point, John, almost sounds like he's a whistleblower on this, right? He says he's got credible information, a great source of where this is coming from, and he can't speak on it. So it's almost like he's a whistleblower on this. But why? You know, it's some scary stuff. You know what, Ad Alva, I appreciate. I love the fact that you patriotic and you believe in our government, and we want to believe in our government. But I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that we could trust that if they knew it, they'll take care of it. I mean, he made some valid points, John. For one, a hobbyist doesn't have those capabilities, the technology for it, and the size of these things is massive. And the government, and what he's saying was kind of a smart move. What he was saying, John, he's saying, well, hey, we have to have trust in our government, right? If it was our government, they would tell us, right? So it has to be, an Iranian mothership. So he put the government in a spot to where, what are you going to do now? Are you going to tell us if you do know? So it was a smart move in what he said.
I don't have trust in anything, I mean, I'm hearing that San Francisco called the NYPD, and they called the NYPD and said, hey, we got a missing here, and that looks like our missing. Your shooter looks like our missing. And you know what was done about it? Nothing. Until the McDonald's worker found them. So pure luck. Pure luck. Yeah, was it great to get the information out there? Was the canvas great? Yes. But major fail if that's true. Major fail if that's true. I don't, again, I don't believe that they don't know what it is or who it is, or it may be them or not them. I don't care. The American public's in an uproar. We have the right to know. You fly over my house. You fly over my backyard. I want to know. You fly over my kid's school. You fly over my place of business. I want to know. I want to know. We don't work for you. We're not your servants. This country was founded on much different beliefs than the rest of these communist nations or kingdoms or whatever else type of government you'd like to call them. This is a much different government. You work for us. You work for us. So I don't even want to hear about national security threat anymore, because this is a national security threat and we must be held accountable. Our elected officials and our law enforcement agencies need to be held accountable. Either you're inept and emasculated, or you're violating privacy laws and you're harassing your own citizens. So we need to know immediately what's going on. Immediately. Here's Dan Bongino. Not a huge fan of this dude, I'll tell you, because he's done nothing to help anyone in the NYPD. He's done absolutely nothing to help people like Marlon Bethel. He's done nothing to point out the ills of the mandates, nothing to point out the ills of what's going on with the legislation. He may not understand it. Listen, he focuses a lot on national issues, but he's done nothing to uplift the voices of common sense in New York City to what's going on. So I'm not a big fan of this dude, but I mean, this is a good clip of him. Somebody sent me this, and I think, if I'm going to go on anything that's happening federally, I'm going to go to people who served in the federal government, in law enforcement in the federal government, and which he did. So let's hear what he's got to say about this situation. This is Dan Bongino talking about the drones.
I'm going to throw something out at you right up front here. They know exactly who owns these drones and what they're doing in the sky, but they don't want to tell you for a reason. The reason is the United States government and the deep staters involved in it, they don't want to scare you with their own inadequacy. Folks, I'm telling you right now, they know who these drones belong to. We are at real risk here. Our airspace is not secure. They don't know what to do with these drones. And, I said bottom line up front, so I hate teases because they're for morons. Oh, stay tuned later in the show. If you like the show, you'll stay no matter what. I'm 95% sure, if not more, it's China or some foreign adversary. Has some role in it. Could be wrong. I'm throwing it out there, and I'm basing it on a few different things. I'm going to throw some.
What do you think about what Dan says?
Well, I agree with you, John. Here's someone who has an opportunity to actually step in and help this podcast. Yourself had to make a decision within 7 days. Marlon Bethel, talk about CCRB. But he did have a short stint with the NYPD, so maybe it's not his wheelhouse, right? But this is his wheelhouse, right? If I want to buy a house, I'm going to a realtor. I'm not going to a baker. So if I want information on what I believe is going on with the drones, it should be somebody like Dan Bongino that has experience with surrounded by law enforcement with U.S. government. So I agree with him. I think what he's saying is right. I mean, we heard before, which I consider he sounds like he's kind of like a whistleblower in this, believed to be a mothership in Iran. I think he's right. But what's absolutely right about this is there's a problem if they can't control this airspace. So I do agree. It's definitely I definitely do think that they know. He's right. When he said that they know, but they don't want to scare you about the inadequacies, yeah, I think they know. I do. I find it hard-pressed to believe they don't know.
So this is a friend of mine on Twitter, Kate in New Jersey. Look what she posts. This is last night. Look at this.
Okay, so Wednesday night. Where did it just go? Here it comes. Wednesday night, same exact pattern and location as the last ones. Here it comes. You'll see it blinking through the trees. I have a screenshot of the flight radar at this time, which I think is about a little after 9 o'clock. There is nothing. I'm losing it. There's absolutely nothing in the air right now on the radar. You can see, oh, wait, look, here comes the second one, just like the other night. They're coming right into the same location. Let me see, here comes the other one. There's the one. Here comes number 2. You cannot hear a single thing. This is, see, here it is. See how low it is? This is almost identical to the videos that I took on Sunday night. And one passed by my house just a moment ago. And, oh, there's another one. This is number 3 coming in over my house. Number 2, I'll be quiet. There's no sound. Let me show you how close they are going together. There goes one by my house. There goes the other one. No sound. The rain stopped and they're back up in the sky.
That's sick.
And it looks like, it looks like Juju wants to have a real conversation this time. This is the most lucid response I've ever seen by Juju, and looking to have a real conversation. I'm impressed, Juju. You come a long way. Let me see if I can find it. Actually, a response by Juju. I can't find it, but basically, the sum of substance, Juju said, if the government takes action, then it actually shows vital military capabilities. So that's the most logical conversation we've ever had. That may be so, but even with that, we still need action taken. These drones have to come down. I mean, John, do you see the size of those drones? The fact that you can see the light so bright and so close, I mean, these things are humongous. They're huge, and there's numerous drones. What danger are we in right now as we speak? That's some scary stuff, brother. And the unknown is a scary spot.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't even know what to say. Like, people are sitting here, they're upset. There's things flying over their home. Everyone's like, it's just the government, bro. So what? What'd Juju say? He said, oh, if they act, they give up vital information. It's like, what? Dude, what are you talking about? So Marlon Bethel posted this last night. I think this is something about what capabilities, what satellite capabilities we currently have. So let's see that. Let's see what satellite capabilities we currently have in the world. This is from Northrop Grumman, military contractor. Here we go. Let's see what we could see in our airspace or in the world. Let's see what we could see.
The U.S. has, by far, the largest and most capable network of satellites and space capabilities of any nation on Earth. In fact, many of the drones flying missions in the Middle East have been directed and coordinated in real time from over 10,000 kilometers away in Nevada. The newer space-based infrared system can detect much smaller and shorter-range missile launches, like Iskander, and even track them in real time, and provide not just the precise impact point, but also relay it to missile defenses to try to intercept it. The latest series of satellites being launched are the beginnings of networks that will take it a whole step further to detect and fully track hypersonic weapons and assist in shooting them down. Also, speaking of the current space-based infrared system, they likely also carried a payload for the Trumpet ELINT, or electronic intelligence satellites. ELINT is just a subset of SIGINT, or signals intelligence. Today, virtually every aircraft and satellite has some form of SIGINT sensor on board. Also, the US has another SIGINT class called NOS, and those are typically used for detecting ships at sea. Declassified history of Gambit, where it mentions better than 4 inches, or 10 centimeters. The weird thing is, if you go look at this document today on the NRO's website, they actually went back and redacted this part. Only through the Wayback Machine can you actually see the original. But better than 10 centimeters is about the limit possible due to atmospheric distortion. And from Trump's tweeted image, it's about the same as they can achieve today. As for today, the US really doesn't have many optical imaging satellites. There's likely only 5 or 6 KH-11s remaining.
So, I mean, obviously what you see here is technology is there to spot not only things that are in the sky, but boats. We should know. So when Dan Bongino says we know exactly what they are, I'm not doubting him for a second. I'm saying, yeah, we know exactly what they are. Are they from us or are they from a foreign entity? I don't know.
Well, that's the part which leaves a lot of anxiety and speculation. That's why we need transparency with the government to say at this point, hey, this is what we know, this is what we have, this is our capabilities, this is what we're working on. They're not telling the public that at all. So, and I agree with Dan Bongino. This is his wheelhouse that they know, and we believe that they know, and it's not our wheelhouse, but I do believe that they know. Crazy 10-7, shout out to you. $4.99 more coffee and donuts. Crumbs. He's absolutely right. They're scared to show you how inept and incapable they are, including the various NYPD units that are involved. Yes. I mean, what he said there is actually quite interesting in that report just now. The technology, but there's also a lot of holes in it, a lot of technology that we don't have yet. So I think that he's spot on. Marlon says Cold War. Could it be? Yeah, I talked about this yesterday, especially whether it's Iran or China. It's kind of on the same par right now. I don't think there would be a boots on the ground war. If there was, we will lose that battle. It's just the size of the military in China and actually going to their soil in the way China's designed also, would be a real problem. And you look at the history, and John, you said it yesterday, which I absolutely agree. And I didn't really get into that. We didn't do well when we go to other soil with boots on the ground because of the politics of the country. Absolutely. So could this be some type of Cold War with drones? Yes, absolutely. This is some scary stuff. We have to look at that, and the government needs to be transparent and say what they believe that they have and what capabilities they have to keep the public safe at this time.
Yeah, so, I put out a tweet last night. I said, so for 2 years, I've been hearing how great these drones are, and now there's drones flying all over New York City, and the NYPD drones haven't stopped one or took down one. We don't know anything about it. And everybody's like, oh, there's no drones here. Here's the map right here. Here's the map right here. I said it the other day. My friend keeps sending me videos over his house in Staten Island, in Brooklyn too. All over New York City, it's happening. In the Bronx, Latina just said it too. Here, like it's happening all over. What are we doing? Like, here's the map. Here's where all the drones have been flying. Staten Island's in the red. Monmouth County, Ocean County, Trenton, Philly, and you see it. I mean, you see it clear as day. That drones are flying all over the place. And then the other problem is they're flying over sensitive locations. Right? They're flying over critical infrastructure. Looks like reconnaissance. I'm not okay with, it's just our government. I'm not buying that. It's just our government. We shouldn't know about it. We should have zero clue about what's going on. If this is a top secret program, it should be top secret, meaning maybe one person should come forward and say, like, oh, I just saw this weird thing over my house, and then it not be explained. No, we're seeing armies of drones flying over. Like, that's not cool. Doesn't seem like a top secret program to me. Doesn't seem like anything's top secret to me. Here's what the Pentagon had to say yesterday.
Jen. Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time, we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but, at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring.
Can you rule out that these are American drones or U.S. military drones?
These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
What do you think about what the Pentagon had to say about this?
That's why I have to push back on Oliver earlier, and also John Cook. John Cook says this is 100% the U.S. government. I'd bet my life on it right now. Are you confident? I just want to say, are you confident with that press, with her response? Her response is, it's not Iran. No need. It's not an outside country, but it's also not the U.S. government. Well, then who is it? It's not some guy in the backyard with his son playing with drones. So which one is it? I mean, I don't have any trust in them at all. You know, one, either they have no idea what's going on, which I don't believe, or they're being disingenuous. And I think based on what she said, she even put her head down. And then she said local law enforcement is investigating this. No, they're not. They don't even know what to do. I think it's disingenuous.
You know what this reminds me of? And this reminds me of a couple of years back, height of the mandates. Inflation's transitory. Inflation's transitory. I'm like, whoa, inflation isn't transitory. What do you mean? What do you mean? You tell me inflation's coming down? We have no ability to bring inflation down because everything you do is causing inflation to rise. So when I hear her talk about that and say that, I mean, I'm like, do we look like a bunch of morons? We have no idea who it is. Yeah, but they would know. They were just flying over our military bases, but there were no threats. What would happen right now, Eric? Right now, you go wherever you are in the country, you go outside a military base and you take your kid to a park and you're like, hey, little Johnny, let's go just see what's over the military base to see the cool tanks because little Johnny likes tanks. What would happen to you and your drone if you flew it over a military base right now in New York? Or, I'm sorry, anywhere in the country. Anywhere in the country, what would happen to you and your drone?
Well, first of all, you got a huge problem, right? So, unlike local law enforcement, right? When it comes to local law enforcement, we protect life, right? You could only fire a weapon to protect life. But when it comes to a military installation, you could actually, the military personnel, military police can fire upon you to protect property, to protect a military installation. So absolutely, you're 100% right. You may even get fired upon. 100%. So this is nothing but a complete lie. If anybody believes this, that, hey, there was no infrastructure to worry about, or there's no risk, how could there be no risk if you're saying, well, it's not from Iran, but it's not from the U.S. government? Okay, if that's the case, then who was it? Was it aliens? I mean, VSS Ventura said, Eric and John, aliens exist. Please believe. LOL. Is it aliens? Now, listen, I believe there's other life form out there. I really do. And John, you said it too. So, I'm glad that you said that because I do believe it. But is this aliens right now, UFOs, or is this other life coming here right now in this manner? No. So which one is it? She's lying.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I believe that there's other life out there because the universe never ends. Or the human brain can't even comprehend what that means. So how could I think that there's not life elsewhere? I'm sure there's probably intelligent life somewhere. We haven't found any on this earth yet, obviously. And I'm sure if there was intelligent life that came here, they'd be like, wow, these people, wow, this is ridiculous. Let's go back to where we're from. These people are ridiculous. So, yeah, there's definitely intelligent life somewhere out there. I don't think that these are unidentified flying objects, either they're unidentified. These are publicly unidentified flying objects, but to the government, they know exactly they are identified flying objects. And I don't believe that they're UFOs. I don't believe they're from outer space. I believe that I don't believe I haven't seen any capabilities that I've never seen, or I'm saying, oh, that's not from this world. That's out of this world capability. No. it's about in line with what's going on. So, you know, do I believe that there's other things out there? Yeah, there has to be. The universe never ends. You know, it never ends.
What was that movie where it's like, I see dead people. I see dead people. What was it? Sixth Sense? What was it? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Right now I'm saying, I see memes. I see memes. I can see that. I can see right now Kaz Daughtry talking to an alien about a drone. I see memes, brother. They're coming. Yeah, I mean, come on. Listen, the bottom line is the Pentagon is gaslighting the public. They know. I have to agree with Dan Bongino. They know. That was the worst response. I mean, she even looked down. You saw when she was speaking. She even looked down because she knows she's lying. She probably keep a straight face. They know.
Yeah. So, all right. This is in front of Congress. Let's listen to this.
Chair recognized gentleman from Arizona, Mr. Crane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing today. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming today. I got an article right here, mystery drone spotted over New York, New Jersey, prompt calls for federal investigation. I believe this was Breitbart News. I want to start with you, Mr. Wheeler from the FBI. What can you tell us about what you guys do know?
So the public reports and what we have from eyewitness sightings, some of those very credible police personnel and others are what we describe as unidentified drones. We do not know the particular specifics of what those drones are. Some are described as being slightly larger than a commercial available drone, fixed wing as well as rotary. We have helped analyze with our partners video and pictures of what those look like, what have been submitted. Part of that is these over 3,000 tips from the public and to look at that. But as I previously stated, we don't know the people responsible behind that. And that's what we're working on.
Yeah. What did you say the FBI was spending on counter drone?
My budget that would specifically include the technology that we use.
Is it 500,000?
It's 500,000.
What? That doesn't seem nearly adequate. Why do you feel like there isn't a push?
I just got to stop that real quick because I just want everyone to listen to what the FBI just said. They just said they're spending $500,000 on drone capabilities. The NYPD is spending millions and millions of dollars, and they can't deal with it. And they're going to say, this isn't our issue, right? That's what Eric Adams says. He used to say it's the national government's issue. Now he says the federal government. He's been cleaning himself up. Good job. Good job listening to the podcast, Eric. But so the federal government is spending less money on drones way less money on drones than the NYPD is. What do you think about that, Eric?
First of all, the answer by the FBI, that was the most long-winded no. All he could have said was, the answer could have been on that question with no. But he gave the most long-winded, like, oh, we're watching this. Oh, that is when someone's lying. Let me dress this up. That was dressing up. The answer is no. You don't. You either know what's going on with it or you don't. You do or you don't. That was absolutely ridiculous to say that you're putting 500,000 to it when the NYPD is putting millions. You're 100% right. That's a problem. That's a problem. Again, which leads me to believe they know and they're just gaslighting and lying. You're only putting 500,000, but the NYPD is putting millions. Does that make any sense? Not at all.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go further into this mishmash. Here we go.
Push within the FBI to keep up with modern warfare and modern threats.
So
what is the budget for the FBI right now?
Roughly 11 billion.
Okay. Why do you think as warfare changes, and as you know, sir, warfare is changing drastically right now overseas, especially with Ukraine and Russia and the development of drone technology, why isn't the FBI taking this threat more seriously? And that's obviously reflected by the budget that you guys have assigned to counter drone technology?
I have a limited capability that is embedded within our emerging threats unit for surveillance issues. That allocation of resources, that research, that operational deployment of our capability is what we have today. I would imagine that this would grow over time.
What do you think that some of these terrorist cells that might be in the country right now, or maybe even outside of our borders, what do you think that they're looking at when they see a hearing like this and they see that you guys still, after almost a month, don't know who these drones are? What do you think that they're thinking?
So I would be measured in how we speak about our capability and what our limitations and capacity is. However, I'll say to you that it's not as good as I wish it was, and we'll continue to work to make it better.
Yeah, well, when you're only spending $500,000 a year, it's probably not going to be very good, is it?
The only thing I would say about that is that this is an enterprise-wide problem. It's not just a technological problem. That most of that $11 billion budget for the FBI gets after threats to Americans, this being one of them. And the way we apply resources, personnel, operational, all of that to include technology to get after a threat that would threaten American lives, I don't think that $500,000 for the technology part of it adequately captures our commitment to protecting Americans.
What do you think about that?
I would love this guy to sit on a NYPD deposition. I would love. He would give the longest answers. Again, is 500,000 enough? That's a yes or no question. But this is all word salad, dresses up. The bottom line is they know. This guy's completely lying. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. This is unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. I mean, again, at Oliver earlier on is saying that if the government knows, they would tell you. I mean, do you really believe that after watching that hearing? 500,000, in comparison to an actual $11 billion budget. And he said the question was right. He's right. The warfare is changing, right? There'll always be boots on the ground. It's the human element is always the first response, and it's the most important thing. But it's technology that's supporting, right? It's supporting the police departments locally, but it's technology that's also supporting military. It's also supporting us in a time of war. And if we enter another type of war, hopefully not, it is going to be focused around drones. Absolutely. There will be boots on the ground, but that will be a main focus to supplement on how things move. Could move funds, could move supplies. Absolutely. It could be used for surveillance. But the fact that the FBI is saying that they don't know, lies. The Pentagon's telling you they don't know. The FBI is telling you they don't know. Just a complete lie. And that's what he's doing, just giving word salad.
So here's a rep from New Jersey. I forget this dude's name. I kind of like this dude. Never heard of him before. Never heard him. But after this interview, I like him. He walks out of the hearing in Jersey with Jersey FBI, Newark office.
All right. So you were here today. You were just inside. You walked out. Why?
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay. It was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it, but they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today, spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of the state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because he didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
Do they have any idea where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know, but they don't. This is a complete lack of effort, in my opinion, on trying to figure this out. This is not about ability. We have the technology, we have the people, we have the training, we have the resources, we have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean,
Why?
I don't know. They should be saying, you know what they should have done today with productive use of our time if they didn't know anything? Come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead, it was just excuse after excuse, and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing. When I walked in here today, I was actually pretty calm. I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx trying to figure out. But instead, I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
Wow, that's truly upsetting.
He needs to run for governor. This guy's great. I mean, it's so funny. We're laughing because, right, we're not used to people being this transparent. I mean, he's spot on. He wasted his time. I mean, just that 2-minute clip that you played, John, like all we heard is word salad. You don't know anything. But that's my point. You have to be lying, because how could you say you don't know anything, but then say you're safe at the same time? It's like saying there's a guy. It's like saying, John, you opened up your blinds to your house and you see some guy messed up, lurking around your house, walking around. Oh, I know it's not a guy trying to hurt my family. You know, I know that. Definitely not. I don't know who he is, but he doesn't want to hurt my family. So I'm going to go close the blinds and go back to sleep. That means the same thing.
Yeah, nah, this dude is Assemblyman Bergen, Scooch says. Dude, not to be confused with Bergen County. Yeah, I mean, I think he just spoke the words of the public, right? I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're telling us it's safe. How the hell do they know it's safe? Here's someone who has actual experience in this, and he's telling you exactly what needs to be done or what should be done, and he's pointing out the failures of, from the federal level, from a local level. It's just failure after failure, and we're really not hearing any good answers on what these things are at all. Here's a video of a drone jammer. I think this is like South Korea. I could be mistaken. I forget where this is from. But here's how drone jammers work. This is it. You just point it up in the air. Watch this. Watch this.
下来。你这人走开，走远一点，走远一点，走远一点。干嘛又是？走远一点，你先给他。对啊，我这样。你这个，快点吧。
No crash landing, no nothing. Just glides it down safely, and you get it. That's how those things work. We have those. Why aren't they being utilized?
That's what I'm saying. They have to be brought down. You can't say you know something is safe when you don't know what it is. If you don't know what it is, you can't make that determination. Take them down. Take them down. Analyze these drones. Do a forensic analysis to find out the fingerprints on these drones. You know, figuratively speaking, the fingerprints, where it derived from, what information, investigative value you can get. Open these things. Find out what you got going on there. But you can't say, oh, it's okay. And like I said, I use that analogy, but seriously, you know, there's guys running around. Imagine there's a bunch of people running around your neighborhood, masked up. They're just a bunch of crazies. They're fine. I'm going to go back to sleep. What? These drones have to be investigated. You know, listen, they're not playing in South Korea. Why are we playing in America? Why? Why are we messing around? Absolutely, John. You said it. I agree with you. They have the technology. They have the capabilities. No doubt about it. That we know 100%.
Look, and then you want to see Chinese drone capabilities? Look at this. You want to see a Chinese drone? Yeah, look. This is a Chinese drone. Look at that capabilities.
观察匿名队员呢，现在释放的一个仿生鸟，它的作用是现在呢看到的是一个。
There it is. Looks like a bird. If you don't look too good, if you're not a bird watcher, probably won't even realize it. Probably wouldn't even realize that's going on.
Yeah, again, you got Dan Bongino saying it. The other guy was saying, I don't know his name, with gray hair. Yeah, it appears to be a foreign entity. I don't think it's the U.S. I don't think it's the U.S. government on it. If it was, why be so evasive on it? And great point. If it is a secret mission, why is it so obvious? Unless like I said, is it some CIA deep state stuff to see how the U.S. public responds? How the American people respond to drones? I don't know. Anything's possible. And again, all open to speculation because we just don't know.
Yeah. So, what was the point of all of this? The point is that we're not going to hear boo from the NYPD about this. You're not going to hear boo from the person whose only word he could utter is drone, 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 drone. It's a verb, it's a noun, it's an adjective. Drone, 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 drones. We heard that even the police commissioner, drones, 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 drones. Chief of patrol, drones, 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 drones. Drones everywhere. Now we have a problem with drones. Guess what? We're not going to hear about for a few weeks until this whole thing either gets brushed under the rug or something bad happens. We're not going to hear shit about these drones. And that's the problem here, is we see that local law enforcement, state law enforcement, federal law enforcement, weak, inept, emasculated, zero integrity, refuse to tell the people they serve the truth. That's what we're seeing. That's the problem here. The problem, it all stems, law enforcement nationally has been politicized. It's been politicized throughout this entire country, and the people that are in charge have no spines, are cowardly, and lie to you every single day.
Yeah, I think we drilled it down, right? So I think the possibilities are, could be Iran, could be China, could be another outside country, right? It could be the U.S. government. And as far as with the, according to the FBI, but it could be some type of CIA experiment. It's definitely not some hobbyist. There's no doubt about it, right? But until they provide information, that's what we have. Just speculation. They leave us all just hanging on the cliff, trying to figure it out. Is that what they want? Anxiety by the American people? I don't know. Maybe they want to do it so they create, this pandemonium. And then if they end up actually going to war with Iran, that people have so much anxiety and fear and this fear monger that people actually like, oh, we all have a common enemy. Yes, go after Iran because, that's what the American government made you feel that way. Who knows? I don't know. But these are all things that we have to talk about.
Absolutely. So, again, the MTA is doing great. Rush hour, powder outage left 3,500 people stranded on trains for hours. 3,500 people stranded. You're just in a tunnel, right? You're in a tunnel. The trains are so safe. They are so safe. Eric Adams has told us. Michael Kemper repeatedly told us. John Schell repeatedly told you. Kaz Daughtry. None of them ride the train. But they're telling you how great the train is. Don't worry. Don't ask questions why they have take-home calls and security details. Don't ask why they themselves don't ride the train or their families don't ride the train. But here's what happens when you ride the train. This was yesterday. Imagine being stranded in a subway car. What is that with this individual for up to 3 hours? And you're sitting there in this car, and this is the person you're there. And then think about what we just went through with the Daniel Penny, George Neely thing. Should this person be brought down, Eric? I'm going to play this video for you. Is it safe to allow this individual to continue the actions that he's doing in this video. Ready? Ready for this? This is yesterday on New York City subways, the safest subway system in the world, supposedly.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
What do you think, Eric? Nice. He's just a street performer. He's just a Michael Jackson, not an impersonator. What did Eric Adams say? He's just a Michael Jackson intimidator.
Yeah, no, not an imitator. He's an intimidator, and he's right. Actually, you know what, Eric Adams, the whole time I'm so glad we just said this, right? I've been laughing, right? Well, I'm like, what an idiot. He's saying Michael Jackson intimidator, not an imitator. But you know what? He's right. He is. He's an intimidator. He's intimidating the people that are sitting there. I mean, look at the women sitting like, you know what? But thank God Daniel Pennies aren't there, because according to BLM, he's supposed to show compassion. But what about showing compassion to those women that are sitting there that have to deal with this? Because I tell you right now, I'm not saying that I'm going to take him down right away, but I can tell you right now, Michael Kemper, my message to you, and I like you. He's actually got some humor. He showed some balls. But you know what, Michael Kemper? I'm looking him dead in the eye. I want him to know I know who you are. I'm watching you. And I'm not sitting there. I'm getting up. I'm getting up, and I'm keeping my hands, just, John, we always talk about, we don't see the blades dance anymore. I'm keeping my hands in front of me, and I'm standing there, and I'm watching. I'm watching to make sure those people are safe. Those people should not be sitting there. They should get up and move, but at least stand somewhere. Don't sit there where he's now has leverage and he's standing over you. And again, figuratively speaking, I'm asking the people that have said showing compassion, these leftist socialist Democrats that believe that you shouldn't go hands-on. By the way, great job removing KRKR, whatever the hell that stupid name is. But do we, figuratively speaking, when is the time to take action? Because I think now is the time. And I'm not saying you have to necessarily take him down, but you have to start engaging him. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Are you okay? A couple of guys need to get together. Are you all right? Start watching him. Isolate him. Get him away from those women. What's going on? Are you okay? Watch his hands. And maybe eventually he might have to be brought down. But right now, these women are in fear. That's someone's mother, someone's sister, someone's wife. And that's okay with people for them to have to sit there on this right scared. They need to sit there scared. We have to do this for this Michael Jackson intimidator. So you know what? You're right, Eric Adams, intimidator. So that's why I said, figuratively speaking, do we have to wait till he takes out a knife and it's already in the woman's throat before we take action? Why can't we take action now? Those women are scared. They're scared. They're not comfortable. But everyone has to accommodate him. Well, how about we accommodate these people on the train so that they can sit comfortably and they don't have to be scared?
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's that's what they expect you to do. What's the good strategy that Michael Kemper gave us? Don't look him in the eye.
Don't look him in the eye.
Don't make eye contact. Oh, okay. So I'm not going to look him in the eye. I'm not going to get in defensive posture. I'm just going to sit there on the train and hope he doesn't follow through with those punches. No, there is an imminent. If you do not have an imminent fear of serious physical injury or death to you or another right here, you don't have the ability to really rationalize what's going on. Because if he would have just threw one of those punches straight and not stopped them and hit a defenseless woman, she is either going to be seriously injured or die. So the women are sitting there completely defenseless because they don't have the ability to defend themselves. This person is creating a circumstance where serious physical injury or death is likely to you or another if you're on the train that day. And according to Article 35 of the New York State Penal Code, you have the right to use deadly physical force against this individual. Right? But what's New York telling you? You can't even defend yourself. Forget about utilizing deadly physical force. You can't even defend yourself or attempt to restrain this individual to stop that, right? Obviously, nobody's saying this guy's in obviously need of serious mental health. He has serious mental health issues. He needs care. I think we could all agree to that. But right now, he is a serious danger to everyone. De-escalation at this point is not sitting there and not making eye contact as he's throwing punches towards your face. That's not de-escalation. I'm sorry. This is empowering him, emboldening him. People should have been moved to the back of the train away from him, and people should have got him away from everybody else. Capable people. Men. Masculine men should have said, well, ladies, get up and move, and whether they had to do it physically or just try to walk him back to put themselves in front. And again, it's a damn shame that people on New York City trains have to be left to defend themselves and to provide public safety for those who can't defend themselves, because Eric Adams is a failure and he can't do it. He can't even provide public safety in a place where people have zero constitutional rights and are locked behind a cell for 18 hours a day. Places called Rikers Island. He can't even keep drugs out of there. He can't stop assaults from happening, suicides. The guy is completely incompetent. He damn sure can't stop a metropolis. And what's the NYPD's response to this? What's Jessica Tish's response to this? I'll tell you what it is we're going to eliminate the transit overtime, so you're going to have less cops on the train. And that's what the NYPD's response to it is. Ignore the drones that are going up over your head. And don't worry about it. You're safe. And we'll always be there for you. And don't worry. Crime is down. Crime is down. And the trains are safe. And basically what the NYPD is going to do going forward is they're going to start to push the same line that Tiffany Caban was pushing for a while. What was her line? Oh, the chances of you being killed on a train are like 1 in a billion. That's what they're basically going to start. That's going to be the strategy going forward. Because like we told you a year ago, the transit plan was unsustainable and can't last. And here you're seeing it right now. The transit plan is unsustainable. Jessica Tish is going to bring less cops on New York City subways. What does that mean? More of this is happening.
Yeah, first of all, it's really irresponsible, ridiculous for Tiffany Caban to say that. You know, I remember she said that also, the chance of being killed. Right, because he could take out a knife and stab you in the neck. He could grab your breast. He could fondle you. He could intimidate you. He could punch you in the face. You could lose several teeth. You could break your arm. You're still alive. If that's what she's saying, hey, you still survived. You got a knife in your neck, but you survived. You're not dead. But so it's okay to be maimed and injured? First of all, Juju, you know, I don't usually address all the stupid stuff you say, but this is ridiculous. Juju says it's okay, John and Eric, racism won the penny trial. Let me just tell you something, Juju. If you're the man who I think you are behind this, you are not a man. You're a weak, fat, triple-neck man. If you're the man I think you are, you're telling me right now you wouldn't want John or Eric or another masculine man or some of our friends and listeners on this podcast that have balls to be on that train to stop someone like this who could be intimidating your wife, your daughter, your cousin, some woman that's important to you sitting down like that? Are you kidding me? I know you troll this podcast, but let's be real. Are you serious right now? Absolutely. And that's why, again, I say it. Are we figuratively speaking, wait until the knife is in the neck? When is the time to step in? We need the Daniel Pennies in the world. And Daniel Pennies sounded really genuine when he said he couldn't live with himself knowing that people are in danger and he had to take action. That's what we need. People that care. BLM talks about compassion. Daniel Penny showed compassion. He showed compassion. Where is BLM right now? To find out. I'm sure BLM, we should send this video to BLM if they don't have it. To find out where this gentleman is, right? Where is he? He's in a mental health crisis. BLM, get him help. Get him the help he needs before he meets Daniel Penny on the subway and the worlds collide and he meets his unfortunate, tragic demise. BLM, you should be right now grandstanding, talking about he's a male black that has not been taken care of by the system. And you're going to step in and use some of your George Soros money to get him the help he needs.
Yeah, again, mental health. No, we just throw money. We just throw money on fire. We just throw billions of dollars a year to the homeless issue. We just throw it in the garbage. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep talking about Bill de Blasio and his wife and where all that money went. Let's not ask Eric Adams what he's actually doing about it, because then you might be racist. I heard Timothy Crumbs Pearson was at the LBA Christmas party yesterday. I didn't get the email for it, Lou. Sorry, but I actually did get my LBA cards this year, Eric. I can't believe it. After 2 years, I finally got my LBA cards. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'm probably just going to throw them in the garbage. But
it's funny you say that, John, because listen, I'd be honest, right? I have my issues with the LBA. I did not sign for that lifetime membership, and because I did it, I couldn't pay for my children's copay in the same manner everybody else did. I had to actually physically mail a check because I couldn't pay through their portal because I'm not a lifetime member. That's quite interesting, and you know why. I can't say anything, but I really need the prescription. But yeah, I actually had to physically mail a check. I mean, who even has checks anymore? But again, listen, you know what? Timothy Pearson, I heard that rumor too. I mean, that's you're telling me he's at your party? Why? Really? Okay. Well, I guess, does he have a private contract for you? Are you getting some crumbs? I mean, that's the only reason we could invite Timothy Pearson.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, before we do this, speaking of Timothy Crumbs Pearson, shout out to all the cowards at the LBA party for allowing him to sit there like he's worthy of hanging out with you people. So shout out to you guys for not saying a word to him. Like, why? I would have been like, why is he here? Why are you here? Like, what are you doing here, dude? But like, yeah, of course, no one's going to say anything to him. They were probably all patting him on the back. Yeah, these Republicans, they don't see, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know you guys.
Just a couple of sexual allegations. That's all, but you know them. It's okay. That's not rape. If you know her, it's okay. It's not rape.
Yeah, so, he's being sued by a bunch of members in the job, as well as he's being probed federally for a lot of questionable contracts. There's a lot of allegations that came out about people buying promotions, about people buying contracts, about kickbacks from contracts. A lot of questionable things. So this comes out from the Daily News. Lawman is a defense. All right. Lawyers for former senior mayoral aide advisor Timothy Pearson are claiming law enforcement privilege, and I quote, in refusing to turn over a wide array of documents sought by a former sergeant suing Pearson for sexual harassment and retaliation, court papers filed Wednesday. The NYPD and the defendant Pearson are targets being investigated by New York City Department of Investigation, writes John Scola, who is representing the former Sergeant Roxanne Ludeman. The target of investigation cannot claim law enforcement privilege. John Flannery, a private lawyer hired by the city to represent Pearson and the NYPD, did not reply to a request for comment. Ludeman claims in her March lawsuit, Pearson pursued her when she worked for him in a special mayoral unit that assessed city agencies in 22 and 23. When she rebuffed his advances, she claims he blocked her promotion. NYPD Chief Matildis Mamara and two other cops backed up her claims. They allege in their own lawsuits, Pearson used his power over the NYPD to sideline their careers. Pearson resigned September 30th under pressure after federal agents seized his phones as part of an investigation into corruption into City Hall that also led into the resignation of 4 of the mayor's most senior officials. None have been charged with wrongdoing. Flannery and Elizabeth Schneider and another lawyer hired by the city to defend the lawsuit called the document request vague, ambiguous, and vivacious, whatever the hell that means. In his reply, Scola called the response bad faith and asked for a hearing. As for other probes, the NYPD was investigating Mamara for a shouting match with Pearson in 23 over the alleged blocking of Ludeman's promotion. But that case was resolved with a letter reprimand sent to Mamara's September 19th record show. Ludeman and 2 other cops who are suing have retired, ending any disciplinary probe involving them. But the city is still citing an exception, refusing to produce the transcript of the official interview conducted by the Internal Affairs of Ludeman in August 23. They won't even give over the discovery. That is disgusting. And we're gonna talk more about that. But think about that before I go any further on this. Think about that for 1 second. You were interviewed by the Internal Affairs Bureau. You're making an allegation that you were being retaliated against by the NYPD because of Timothy Crumbs Pearson, who has ties to the Internal Affairs Bureau. All of these people have their own people inside of IAB, and they won't release the transcript or the audios of that interview. That's illegal. That's illegal.
John, doesn't this sound awfully familiar? The Dana Richland case, this case, our complaint to Internal Affairs Bureau about what's going on. Again, it's
all the vaccine, all the lawsuits against the mandate. They won't release any data.
There you go. Internal Affairs cannot be trusted. They're not there to do investigations. They're there to protect the leadership. That's what they are. They're henchmen. So right now, Galvez and all the investigators out there, if you think you're doing an investigation, you're a henchman for the upper echelon. That's all you're doing. If anything, you're corrupt yourself by following that suit. 516 Diecast, shout out to you, brother. 1999. Here we go. Coffee and donuts. Thank you both. As a 25-year NYPD retired White Shield, I would have loved to work with both of you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your service. And I'm so glad what you just said, right? Thank you both, retired White Shield. Thank you so much for what you do as a White Shield. You know, there's a podcast out there called Gold Shields. So they forgot about the great work that White Shields do. So shout out to you, 516 Diecast. Thank you.
So there is no pending law enforcement investigations, which the defendants are conducting, Scola argues. The city is also refusing to provide NYPD personal records predating 2019, including past sexual harassment allegations. Pearson retired in 2012 from the NYPD and worked security as director at the Resorts World Casino until Mayor Adams tapped him in 22. Mamara in his lawsuit alleged that Pearson was a target of a series of sexual misconduct allegations, both while with the NYPD and after. Flannery had denied the allegations, and the city's lawyers, who contend the city is unaware of any background check or other vetting of Pearson, suggesting he was never the subject of a check, which would be unusual. However, a spokeswoman for the Department of Investigation confirmed the news. DOI did perform a background check of Pearson. And what exactly was that background check, and what exactly did it show? Because that's the problem. Remember, DOI is mayoral appointed. Remember that.
You're spot on. You're spot on. And what do we know? We know from this. We know from Dana Rachel's case. We know from our case. Internal Affairs lacks transparency. They lack compassion. They don't care. The bottom line, to this day, there's still someone who's unhinged, unstable, hidden behind a fake moniker, who was a member of the service, the NYPD, actively a member of the service, threatening the lives of our children, and we still don't know the identity. They will not release the identity. So if you think Internal Affairs will not violate the law, we've gave you numerous instances where they do. And Sal Greco, follow Sal Greco's case. That's another issue where they violate the law. Not violated policy. They violated the law to tap into Sal Greco's bank accounts and his phone and get subpoenas that were unwarranted and completely illegal.
Wait, and you ready for this? This just brings up a whole nother thing for me, and I gotta just bring this in because this annoys me a lot. Lawman privilege. I never even heard of that. Lawman privilege. Okay, so let me bring this up. So now let's bring back what's going on with the mandate and this NYPD officers who's suing the department for being discriminated against religiously, same that they did to myself and others. So he's suing the department for being discriminated against religiously and being denied his religious accommodation, right? Why? We don't know. The NYPD can't tell you. The person that was in charge of doing it can't tell you. So New York City COVID mandate. Are you curious why the NYPD loves hiring and quickly promoting the attorneys Question mark. I'll tell you why. So they can invoke client-attorney privilege and not be questioned in an attempt to cover up their crimes and hide discovery, which is evidence of their crimes. Right? So what I'm saying here is that the NYPD doesn't hire attorneys to act as attorneys. What they do is they hire attorneys to act as supervisors. And then as supervisors, they violate your rights. They deny your religious rights in the workplace. They retaliate against you. They do all of these illegal actions against you. And then when you go to sue, you know what they do? Oh no, we can't hand over any documents because we have client attorney privilege, because I'm a lawyer, so I can't give you over any city documents. This is the illegal actions that New York City's doing. So New York City Corporation Counsel attorney, who's since been promoted, Linnane, invoked client attorney privilege, stating that Deputy Commissioner of Equity and Inclusion Meisenholder could not testify about any conversations she had directing her subordinate, then Director Mike Milkowski, since also promoted, the person who denied the officer an accommodation in regard to the new religious accommodation process. No emails, no documents or text messages was supplied for the discovery of this case, even though they were questioned. Again, I believe they are attempting to hide discovery behind client-attorney privilege, right? So I'm just going to read this transcript real quick, right? So I already said yes to that question. So you instructed Kenneth Perez for the implementation of the COVID-19 reasonable accommodation policy. She responds, we worked together as a team in the office to get through the RA process for the mandate under the direction of the Department of Citywide Administrative Services on Human Rights, the Law Department, and the Mayor's Office. Okay, did you direct anybody else in that process? I was in charge of the entire office. Did you instruct Mr. Milkowski on how to review a reasonable accommodation requests? Objection to any communication with Mike Milkowski of his employment as an agency attorney and communication. The attorney says, her conversations. She says, excuse me? He says, in her role as a supervisor of the office, the person who reviewed my client's accommodation request, you are telling me is protected by attorney-client privilege? And then the attorney, do not raise your voice. I'm not raising my voice. Judge Porzio has already ruled. And he says, no, he has not ruled. So basically, that's what exactly is happening. This is what they're doing. They're hiring attorneys to cover up their crime. She's saying that she can't give, he's not even allowed to ask what the deputy commissioner instructed the individual who denied religious rights to this officer. You're not allowed because he's an attorney and we're invoking attorney-client privilege. Doesn't make any sense. They're covering up crimes. This is what New York City's doing. And they did it again on another aspect where it was related to emails. Because the Milkowski, who's an attorney, right, he handed over to New York City Corporation Counsel text messages, emails, and documents that related to why this person was, this cop was denied a religious accommodation and what the process, and also about what the overall process was. But the attorney and the kid who was discriminated against religiously has not received any of that discovery. And again, they're invoking attorney-client privilege. They're not handing any of it over. And then when pushed later, when the attorney asks, what did you review prior to coming here today to prepare for this? He said, oh, I reviewed my text messages, my emails, and documents. But you're not allowed to have those for the city. So they're basically stonewalling the investigation into these illegal actions, and they're continuing further their illegal actions. This is what they're doing. This is New York City under Eric Adams. Completely not transparent, completely corrupt.
Mikey G, metal detector, says it here. So how do you fix the problem? Well, that's how you fix the problem right now. The squeaky wheel gets the oil by exposing the fact that the NYPD's internal affairs, the NYPD systems themselves, the NYPD commissioners, when it came to the mandate, have been a complete cover-up. They violated not just policy, they violated law, and they're doing it right now to conceal the cover-up, to conceal how they violated the law, to actually carry out this mandate. That's what you do. You got to be the loudest voice in the room, and that's what we're doing. And that's why, no matter what, John, whether there's a payday or not, this is so important that your voice is being heard with your attorney right now. And you know what? I think it's very fitting. I'm glad that it took 3 years. I know it's a long time when it comes to your case because there's a large mounting pile of evidence that has come together and just really connects with your case. And that's the bottom line. You got to be the loudest voice in the room.
Yeah. So just a little bit further on this, and then I got one more topic, and I think we can get out of here for today. But still on the same topic, right? While on the oath, the NYPD's former commissioner of NYPD Equity and Inclusion could not recall if she ever advised the then director, Mike Milkowski, who was in charge of approving and denying religious accommodation requests, or anybody else in the reasonable accommodation process, that they could use their own subjective views of religious belief to grant or deny a reasonable accommodation request. This shouldn't be a difficult thing to remember, and the answer should have been a flat-out no. But considering it wasn't, it should tell you everything you need to know.
That's the basis of the case right there. That's the whole case.
So obviously, it's illegal to use your own personal beliefs on what you believe is religious or not. You're not allowed to do that. Your only job as the NYPD is to say, we could accommodate you or we can't accommodate you. But she can't remember if she ever instructed anybody. It's insane. Listen to this testimony. Listen, I am not asking you about Mr. Milkowski's testimony. I am asking you whether you advise Mr. Milkowski or anybody else in the reasonable accommodation office that they could use their own subjective view of religious beliefs to grant or deny a religious accommodation request. She says, not to my recollection. To me, that screams yes. I don't even know how this case is still going on. This kid, forget the settlement. This kid should be a full award. Forget a settlement. They, in my opinion, this shouldn't even go to trial anymore. Wait, this shouldn't go to trial, and everybody should be reinstated. So you're sitting here saying right now that you're telling people that you told people that they could use their own subjective view of religious beliefs to grant or deny people reasonable accommodation requests. And that's exactly what they did, by the way. And that's exactly what they did. The fact that she did not answer no to that question and she couldn't answer no tells you everything you need to know, because she's worried about whistleblowers. She's worried about it coming out. And in fact, she did do that.
I think that's a smoking gun right there, John, because to me, you might not remember all the minutiae, the details, but you would remember, hey, there was a 10-step system in place, or there was a 5-step system with certain criteria that had to be met. She didn't say that. She didn't say there was certain criteria. She said, I don't recall. How do you not recall if it was opinion or not? That's something, right? I mean, John, I might not remember the particulars of every arrest I'm involved in, but I can tell you this. If they're going to ask me about a gun collar 10 years ago, I can tell you, no, it wasn't based on opinion, that there was definitely a process under People versus DeBoer that we made an interaction and a street encounter. So that is a complete lie. That is the smoking gun right there. That's the whole case. If you ask me, I think it is.
Yeah, so Mikey G's asking, can this case go before the Supreme Court? I just want everyone to stop. I don't want to ever hear about the Supreme Court ever again. I want to hear the stop. This needs to be defeated now at a local level. How do you defeat it? Not by sitting on your hands and not telling anybody what happened to you. Not by filing a lawsuit and not talking about it. Not by not being religiously discriminated against and not telling anybody how it affected your life. Not by being homeless on the streets and being afraid to talk about it or being afraid to speak out against your employer. No, that's not how it gets defeated. How about all the people that got forced into doing something they don't want? I haven't heard one person sit up, publicly tell how they feel about that, how it demoralized them, how they're still angry about it. I haven't heard one member of any agency come out and talk about that. They tell me privately, that's great. The world doesn't know. If you don't tell the world, it never happens. right? It never happened. You're taking that to your grave with you. That's a secret you're taking to your grave. So where are all those people? If it goes to the Supreme Court, that's your last recourse. What have we seen time and time again? The Supreme Court will not hear these cases. I don't want the Supreme Court to hear these cases. I want the judges in New York City to follow the law. I want our agencies to follow the law. I want the mayor to follow the law. I want the New York City Police Department to follow the law. I want the deputy commissioners to follow the law. This shouldn't be hard. How do we do that? We put the right politicians in place that are going to ensure that they follow the law, not weak, soft-bodied people who are going to gaslight you and sit up there and take stuff all over their face from Eric Adams as he's turning New York City into a shithole and passing all these leftist policies and pretending like, no, now he's a Republican because he doesn't want to go to jail. No. And I'm talking about Joe Borelli, if any of you guys didn't know who I was talking about.
You know, shout out to Mikey G. And I see your frustration, your emotions, and that's why we're doing this, right? Mikey G says, I'm angry and I'm willing to speak out. Well, that's what you got to do. You got to be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. You got to shout out. You got to be the largest voice in the room. And you said the largest voice in the universe. That's what you got to do. You got to get behind. They don't want the noise, right? They don't want the noise. And that's what you got to do. John's speaking out. I'm speaking out. Marlon's speaking out. Sal's speaking out. You're speaking out. That's why you got to come on this podcast, Mikey G. Come on this podcast. Tell your story. Take to social media. Get on social media every day and drive them crazy and annoy them. And that's what you have to do. You have to just keep badgering them. Make them perturbed by your existence. Don't stop. Don't ever stop until this wrong has found a way to be fixed. And that unfortunately, the voices have to be heard. That's your sword. And, you know, Ron Lason nails it right here. Before we segue back into Louis Mangione. You even highlighted this. I think that won't fly because he was acting as an agent to process policy. The CAD psychologist tried to use HIPAA to not give me info on candidates. I told them that they were not patients on the couch. Outstanding. That might be the best comment you've ever made. Hands down, squared away. I know that's your forte. That was your wheelhouse with candidate assessment division. So hopefully one day we can have Ron Lason come on. I have a huge passion into candidate assessment. I have a lot of theories on it. Ron Lason and I have spoken about it. So I'd love to have him on one day and talk about that. But spot on.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see what Patrick Donahue's got to say. John Scola, the modern day Eric Sanders, he seems to have the inside track on lawsuits involving DEA members. I wonder how he gets so many DEA members to allow him to represent them. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really a big fan of John Scola. So I got to be honest with you. We had a little sidebar conversation with him and I just did not like what he had to say. Juju says, play the News Nation video of fellow incarcerated yelling free Luigi from their cells. I didn't see it, dude. Send it to me, if anything. But so here's NBC News. Is NBC News. Let's see what this is about. This is about Luigi Mangione. Obviously, I think this is something we're going to be talking about for years and years and years and years. There's going to be Netflix documentary after Netflix documentary about this. A lot of people, a lot of theories coming out. There's a lot of speculation about it. And fair, it's in the national media. This kid's already being lauded as a hero. CEOs are now being under threats. There's posters being there's wanted posters of other healthcare CEOs. I mean, you know, that's the mental illness in this country is on full display, I think. And I'm not saying the questioning. If you're questioning any aspect of this, I mean, we're human. That's what we should do. I believe that's what God wants us to do. If He puts something in your head, it's something you should explore. So I'm not knocking you. However you feel about it, whatever theory, my only thing is follow the clues and give a rational explanation as to why you think what you think. So here we go. Let's hear what they got to say on NBC.
Investigations in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. His suspected killer, Luigi Mangione, fighting extradition back here to New York. Today, New York's Tracy Strand's all the latest now from our newsroom. Tracy.
Well, Michael, right now, Luigi Mangione is being held at a maximum security lockup outside of Altoona, Pennsylvania. His attorney says the 26-year-old will plead not guilty to murder charges in Pennsylvania and here in New York. And before waiving his extradition to come back here to face those charges, he said this.
And to be completely out of touch,
and insult the intelligence of the American people and its lived experience.
Now, Mangione had that outburst as police forced him inside of a courthouse in western Pennsylvania yesterday. He's charged with murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside of the Hilton Hotel here on 6th Avenue last week, and then leaving town, leading authorities on a 5-day manhunt. He eventually was nabbed in Altoona at a McDonald's restaurant after being recognized by both a customer and an employee. Police say he had a gun and silencer on him that he used in the attack, and the fake New Jersey driver's license he used to check into a hostel on the Upper West Side. The DA in Blair County, Pennsylvania, says he plans to move quickly, trying to send Mangione back to New York. His defense attorney, however, says he's going to fight that extradition.
You know, you can't rush to judgment in this case or any case, because any one of you all, if you were charged with a crime or any of your family members or loved ones, you don't want anybody rushing to those judgments.
So in a statement, the Mangione family released a statement saying in part, quote, "We only know what we have read in the media. Our family is shocked and devastated by Luigi's arrest." And we know that Governor Kathy Hochul has indicated that she will sign a warrant for his extradition back to New York. Michael and Darlene, back to you.
All right, Tracy, thank you.
Well, joining us now to discuss the investigation, NYPD Chief of Patrol John Schell and Deputy Commissioner Kaz Daughtry. It's so nice to have you both here with us this morning. We appreciate your time. So obviously, this is something the whole country has been following, and there's no doubt that the NYPD has some of the best investigators of the world. I think there wasn't much doubt that he would get caught, this particular suspect, but it almost seems in some ways that he either expected to or almost wanted to. How do you account for the fact that he still had the gun, he still had the ID?
Well, that's just a level of arrogance on his behalf. And let's face it, you know, you might be well educated, but you weren't smarter than our detectives, the NYPD, Chief Kenny's crew. You weren't smarter than the media, and you weren't smarter than the people working at McDonald's. And when you look at all the evidence that was gathered in 5 days by the detectives, what they had to, the process of collecting video, forensics, the gun, tracking video, laborious task, everything they had to do, at the end of the day, they got a picture out quickly to the public, and the public did what they were supposed to do. They saw something, they said something, and now we have this person off the street. So a great collective teamwork here from everyone.
I know that you've sent, Commissioner, people went right away to Pennsylvania, to Altoona. One of the things they're looking at is this manifesto. Can you tell us anything right now about it?
You know, I didn't have actually a chance to examine the manifesto. That's all going to come out during, you know, the trial. Like they're still going through it line by line, word by word. Our investigators, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, as well as our federal partners. So I'm sure that they got the best analysis on it, and we're going to hear more about this in a later date.
Okay.
Well, gentlemen, what do you make of the internet's obsession with Luigi Mangione? It used to be these villain anti-hero types. It was a subculture thing when some of them were glorified, but this seems to be sort of everywhere. What do you make of how everyone seems to, not everyone, but there's a lot of talk on the internet with an unusual amount of support for him?
Clearly disturbing, a brazen, cowardly act because you didn't like or you had an animus towards the healthcare industry, where it may be. You took a father and a husband, you took his life, and people are celebrating that. That is disgusting at the highest level. And if you have a problem with it, with any company, whatever you have a problem with, there's other ways to do this. This was terrible. It's very disturbing to read that.
Yeah.
Commissioner, you were looking at the path as you were searching for this suspect, and we heard Atlanta, maybe someone came in from Atlanta, then this. How did you figure out the path of how this went?
Once again, thank you for the question. That's a very good question. That is a tribute to, we have the greatest detectives in the world. Let's talk about how we got to that path. You know, myself, Chief Madry, Chief Schell, the police commissioner who was sitting in her conference room, her briefing room. She was getting an update, play-by-play on this case. When the chief of detectives presented the picture of him at the, checking in at that hostel, she said, we have to get this picture out to the general public. America needs to help us find this guy, which brought us to the Manhattan North and the Manhattan North video canvassing team, the video team. Probably one of the best teams in the city, where they track this guy, every movement from the McDonald's to the Starbucks to Central Park, And that just goes to show you the level of commitment that the detectives were keen in this guy. I think the mayor said a couple of days ago that we are tightening the net. That's what he meant by that, because we knew exactly his direction of travel, and we were so close to grabbing him, but he was in Pennsylvania. Thank God for the customer and the employee that called 911, and I think his name was Officer Tyler Fry, that came in and made the apprehension. Brought some closure to this family. Now we have to gather all of this evidence, and they got the detectives got to put together a good case for the district attorney.
And what's key here is just quickly, the last 3 events in the city, the horrific 3 people stabbed,
right?
Our police officers shot, and now this, the community followed these people or saw these people. They said something, they did something, and that's just such a key point here. As a community, is a force multiplier for public safety. Unbelievable.
Right. Yeah, you have those tools. Really quickly, because we only have a couple seconds left. So you have to make a good case. What are the charges he's facing? It doesn't meet the criteria for first-degree murder charge. What will he face when he gets here?
I think the Manhattan DA is going with murder, 2 in a firearms possession.
Murder, 2 in firearms. Okay.
We want to thank you both for coming in and bringing us the very latest on.
Gotham Brothers, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think, Eric?
I think it's very convenient how, Juju always has negative comments trolling, but here's Juju right now. I'll read it. I wonder who Juju is. Who do you think, John? Very proud of the team that helped make New York City the safest big city in America. I'll take years to appreciate what has been accomplished. Yeah. Sounds like it's very self-proclaimed. Juju, the letter J, could be John. I don't know. Looks like John Shell stopped off at that McDonald's to me. I mean, looks like he's got a quarter pounder on the side of his neck. What is going on there? Jesus Christ! And Kaz Daughtry. I mean, again, I said this on an earlier podcast, but man, I tell you, he knows how to brown nose. He's good. I mean, when it was Ed Caban's police department, it's Ed Caban's department. Tom Donlan, it was Tom Donlan's. Now it's Jessica Tish's department. I mean, Kaz Daughtry, you're doing a great job. I mean, really brown nosing. You really got your slot in there. I mean, you see, that's his whole career. Brown nose to Madry, brought up. That's what he knows. God bless him. But again, keep talking about how great the detectives. Yes, the detectives are outstanding. The detectives did a phenomenal case. Yes, but of course, he had to make it about him. It was me and Madry. And when they're off, it's like, we got to get this picture out now. Stop making it about you. The detectives did their job. It's a phenomenal job, yes. And they do a phenomenal job on every homicide, okay? You put the picture out there. This case has got a lot more press than others. But it's just good old-fashioned police work. That's all it is.
Look, 2 hours flew. Wow, I didn't even realize we're past the 2-hour mark. We're at 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Boots Malacca, the dream team, is taking full credit for the apprehension of Luigi. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. I expect nothing less from these guys. And again, I haven't heard the word drone for a couple of days. I wonder why. Drone's in the media, and the drone boy has nothing to say about it, the drone commissioner. So, I mean, again, I'm going to just continuously say it. I think we see local law enforcement has been proven over these last 8 years to be completely inept and emasculated, especially when we look at the NYPD. The leadership in the NYPD is non-existent. There is none. It's why we call them managers, because that's what they do. They manage. It's a controlled destruction management of a once very effective police force. Is not so effective now. They're basically social media handles. You wouldn't know. Like, you wouldn't know the difference between them and us at this point. You wouldn't understand that they're probably the most powerful people in New York City, and they're in charge of billions of dollars and have thousands and thousands of officers at their disposal. Completely inept, completely emasculated, and unfortunately, we're seeing that from our state and federal agencies as well. Yeah, I think we need to know about these drones sooner than later. And if we don't, Donald Trump's got big problems, and he better put the right people around him to correct these issues almost immediately. There's a lot of things that local law enforcement can't take those drones down for whatever FAA reason. I missed that clip. I couldn't find it. I had it somewhere in my stuff. Thank you for all you guys that are sending all the stuff. But I don't care. This is a threat. I've seen the NYPD take drones out of the sky. That this is no different. Drones should have been taken out of the sky. We should have actually had either apprehended one, or there should be crystal clear video of what that drone is, and that should be public information. And there's not. So, like I said, I think that they're completely inept. I mean, Eric, you got anything before we get the hell out of here?
Yeah, how can we trust the upper echelon of the police department to actually put out the proper information? How can we trust that they can control themselves and have any discipline when they can't even control what they put in their mouth? I mean, the two of them look like a fat triple necks. Got a quarter pounder of cheese hanging out the side of your neck. You're the chief of patrol and you're constantly on TV. Could you go out? Could you start eating some salad, please? Could you control what you put in your mouth? Show some discipline. You look terrible in that uniform. My God. But again, what did he say? He said, oh, you know, it's crazy that he went out there and did this for something to do with healthcare. So, you're the chief of patrol. Make sure you're careful on what you put out there. Is there an MO determined or not? Because what you're saying, you're kind of alluding to that you have the information on that manifesto and that you know that the MO is about healthcare, because you kind of alluded to it and it hasn't been completely established yet. So again, be clear and be concise. Is the MO identified or not? But again, they're more concerned that the two of them got on TV again, another media thing where they get to make it pretend it's about the cops and then slip themselves into it. And Kaz Daughtry had to mention it's him, it's myself, Chief Mandry, and the commissioner. And she said, we got to get those pictures out now. Wow. This is what you're grandstanding and boasting about? I mean, I can tell you right now, John, if we could take a brand new rookie cop and he could say, hey, listen, we got the picture. We don't know who it is. Let's show the public. I mean, seriously? This is what we're bragging about? The largest police department in the world? That's all right. We'll keep watching the Gotham Brothers.
Yeah. More and more. The memes make themselves, my friend. So, all right, we're going to end this video on this video. We're not coming back on. We'll see you guys tomorrow, live 8:05. Maybe we'll do a fun Friday. Maybe we won't. Let's see what comes out today. This is the Assemblyman Bergen in Jersey. I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. I kind of liked him on the first thing. We'll end with a video by him. But just seeing how he was saying, those are the type of people we need in politics. Real people, real questions, people that'll answer questions as well. All right, people. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate all the donations. God bless everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow, live 8:05.
December 5.
If you vote for this bill today, ladies and gentlemen, you are part of the problem. You are the exact person that people don't trust. You are the exact person that protects the interests of government and simultaneously stomps on the people. You are the problem. And if you're voting for this bill for any reason other than you think it's a magnificent idea, if you're voting for it because you're nervous about someone putting up somebody to run against you, or because the speaker forced you to vote a certain way, or because now you get to have a bill put up that you negotiated for, you should be disgusted with yourselves. You're a pawn, and I'm embarrassed for you. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill is awful. It's disgusting. And it represents everything that the people think is wrong with government. And I'm embarrassed to be here today, even talking about it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
There's a handful of retired officers that don't live in the state that have a lot to say about the dream team, as I like to call it. All of a sudden, they retire and have a master plan on how to fight crime, but nothing to contribute when they were here. They want to come back and be part of the dream team. What can I say?
Law enforcement professionals dedicate their lives to serving and protecting our community. But who's protecting their financial futures? That's where Laidlaw Blue comes in. Our wealth management platform is specifically designed for the law enforcement community. Laidlaw Blue is a division within Laidlaw Wealth Management, run by retired New York City detective John McDermott. His status as a retired detective uniquely positions him to establish a deep connection between Laidlaw Blue and the law enforcement community. Our platform is easy to use and provides a range of financial services, including investment management, retirement planning, and insurance solutions. With Laidlaw Blue, you can secure your financial future and provide for your loved ones. Our team of experienced financial advisors understands the unique challenges and opportunities that law enforcement professionals face. We're here to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning and achieve your goals. Laidlaw Blue. Secure your financial future today. Book a meeting using the QR code displayed or call us directly on 888 901 Blue. That's 888 901 Blue.